Last time we discussed Yeshes. The Yeshes, the way it is Bichlal, in the Fashidna Ifanim, and then there's the specific Yeshes of Klippus Midyon, of Machlekes, which is unique in its pure, raw form, the way it comes out, that it's Yeshes Kameshli, the Nefesh Bahamis Alein. And we left off with the question, how are we going to deal with that? With all the yeshes of Nefesh Bahamis, of the various Ifanim. So the solution is to be Mizbeinen and to somehow change it. Now we're discussing a new kind of issue, something which is irrational. It's the Etzem HaYesh. What's the solution for that? So now Mamer, now we're going to, from Sif Hey, is the Reb Nishmas Eden presents the answer. Or behektem another question, which we left off with last time. Why is the Mechame Midyon Dafke with Moshe Rabbeinu? And why is it Dafke in the end of his life? And this is that without Moshe Rabbeinu, there's Achar Yosef Alamecha, but beforehand there has to be the Mechame Midyon, because without Moshe we can't have this Mechame. So the answer is because Moshe Rabbeinu, he is Chachma. V'nachnu mo. The Keach of Chachma is the Keach with which we're going to be able to have a Melchama with Midyon. So this is the answer to the question. Chachma is the solution for this klippa of Yeshes, the way it is in Machlekes. Now the question is why? What is there in Chachma which is unique? So, in order to properly explore this inyan, we're going to have to first be makdim bichlal what's mechin, the maila of mechin over midas. And then we're going to be able to get more bepratius, the way he describes over here, the maila of chachma over bin. So, let's start like this. Behektim, just a few inyanim klalim, which are not discussed here, but inyanim klalim and chassidus, which is worthwhile just stelling sich on them, and then we'll come back to here to discuss the way it works particularly in this sugya. Bechlal b'negei mechin is very interesting. It says in Ein Beis, in the Lakachtem Ein Vov, that the nefesh is called the nefesh hamaskelis, which is interesting. L'chora, the nefesh is mechin, is midas, is ma'aseh. There's deeper parts in the nefesh, the rotzen. Why is the nefesh in general called the nefesh hamaskelis? So the answer that's given is because the way the etzem nefesh connects with the nefesh, meaning the keiches nefesh, is through the seichel, and particularly through chacham. So the question is why? Let's ask the same question b'signa nachir. In Perek Tes Nekutei Amarim makes a very interesting statement that where is the nefesh elikis? Mokim mishke nefesh elikis is b'meich shebarash, which is surprising. But pashtus, if you'll ask a person as he gets in the Welt, you ask a person on the street, where is the neshama? So b'derech klal, a person will point to his heart. The pintel yid. This is where the neshama of a yid is. And the emes is steht schon, it says in the Rishonim, there's such a lotion that the neshama is belev, in the lev of a yid, like it says lev Yisroel Eiru, or like there's different psukim which talks about the connection of a yid with his heart to the Eibishter. The Alter Rebbe establishes that no, Mokim Mishke Nefesh Bahamis is in the lev, in the Chol Lasmoli. Where is the Mokim Mishke Nefesh Elikis is b'meich shebarash. So the question is why? L'chura fakert. There are other places, not in Chassidus Chabad, where it's discussed that Adrabeh, The Meach is the Yisod of all the problems, all the Sfeikas, all the Yush, the Kaltkeit, the cynicism. That's what Meich provides. Meich makes all the problems. We are going to have to somehow overcome the Meich through inspiration, through Epizavarimkeit, through Emunah, if it's higher than Seichel, or if it's the heart. But the Seichel, that's the Makom Mishkan Nefesh Alikis. L'chora, what's Pshat? There's another Inyan which it's also kedai to look at. It's very interesting that the Nefesh Adam is built in a unique way, different to all other Nivra, including Behemoths, including Malachim. All Nivra, beginning with the Daim, have one Inyan, one Tchun. The Nefesh of the Daimim is to be Tefes Mokim. The Nefesh of Tzemachas is to grow. The Nefesh of the Behemoth is also to express itself in its animalistic way. Once we're coming to the Minachai, so it gets more specific. So the Nesher is more Rachmoni, the Erev is Achzari. There's different ways how the Nefesh expresses itself. But every Nefesh has its unique way how it is, and it's specific, and he has a clear identity. A Malach also, obviously. There's Malach Gavril, it's Malach Michal, every Malach is in Yinahav, in Yinayire. A Adam doesn't have a specific identity. Who is he? He could be a Chazdan, he could be a Gibber, he could be a mix. And the truth is that every person has different parts. What's Pshat, a real person, Adam Hashalim, is that he has a healthy Mitzvah Chesed and a healthy Mitzvah Gvura, and that's what a person is. With the Lashon Rambam is that all the Nivraim are Paul Lecha, the Beis Palim. A human has Kama v'Kama Palim, different ways, faculties, the way he expresses himself. Now, but Pashtus, this doesn't make sense. The Metzias of a Malach makes sense. Everything has one in. That's why. What do you mean that there's one thing which has two in Yon? It's a Klepnish Deverte. If we're talking about a Davar Gashmi, then there could be something that we have one Metzias with two uses. It could be we could have one machine which could be used for two things. But if we're talking in the world of Ruchnis, where everything is its teichen, its inyan, how could there be one inyan with two things? One svara which says two things. Obviously, so it's two inyanim. If there's one thing, so it has to have one inyan, one message, one shlichus. So a malach taka has one shlichus. That's what a malach is. He is the inyan agvur. That's his life force. And therefore, ein malach echad is shlichus. What do you mean that I could do two things? Then there's two eyes. In what way am I one? Mezakda, that a person has more than one thing, which doesn't make sense. Let's ask it sharper. So why is he one? Maybe he's taka two. I see that it's all collected together in one human experience. Hagufa kasha, what's pshat? That one thing has not just an experience, he has different urges, he has different needs, and it's all part of one person. So the whole mitzias, the geboy, how the structure of a human being is amad nazach. So what's taka pshat that a person has more than one thing? So it says, in Lemandas Tafrish Tzadik and different places, that a person does have one identity. What is it? It's a seichel. And that's what makes him have all the different tchunas which he possesses. So the question is again, what is it about seichel which gives us this unique metzias that I could have a few things bevasachas. Just one more nukudah. We know that in Midas, there's always a worry of Yinikas Chitzein. Avram, which is in Yinachesed, is Yotzim Imenu, and Yitzchak Yotzim Imenu. What's the Eitz of Chassidus? Meichen. In Meichen there's no Yinikas Chitzein. From an Ava Velikos, you could have Yinikas Chitzein, and could become Avazar. But if it's with Meichen infused over here, so he somehow or another controls the Midas, or he produces such Midas that are not going to have this Yinikas Chitzein. So the question is again, why? Is Lasikum, we want to know, why is the Nefesh called the Nefesh HaMaskelis? Because he's a Kli for Nefesh. Why is the Nefesh, the Seichel HaAdam, the Meach, the Keli, as Mokim Mishkin Nefesh HaLikis is Mamer Shebarosh? Why is it that Meichin makes that a person should have more than one tchune? And why is it that through Meichin there's no Yinikas Chitzein? So let's begin with Pashat discussing, this is the Yisaidistic Inyan, but it's Kedai to start from the Yisaidis. What is the difference between Meichin and Midas? Bepashtus, everything in the world, in Yoni is himself, obviously. And he should experience himself. His only interest should be himself. That's what he's about. He is about being. And to be in Yoni is that I should experience my own being. And therefore, the animal is a mitzvah that makes sense. I want to survive. My instincts are here to provide for that. That's my sole interest. And calling Yoni is to be. Al derech zeh a malach. Elamai, he has got a idla mitzvahs. Calling Yoni is that he is a shliach of the Eibishter. So, but that's what he is. There is Ke'ilu Neymar, a ceiling on the Metzias of every Nivra that is Magbil himself to being him. Which is obvious, that's the way, obviously I am Mugbal to being me, I can't be not me. And that's a unique gift that the Eibishter gave a human being, that we say, Atochenin L'Adam Das. The Eibishter gave a person a maton, that he is not mugbal to being him. So to speak, he broke this ceiling and he opened a window in this ceiling, which is magbal, the Metzias Adam, to say you don't have to be only you, you could have a shaykhis to something which is not you. And that's the experience of Seichel. Teva Midas is for me to experience myself. If I love, or if I'm angry, or if I hate, or if I'm happy, I'm experiencing myself. Seichel is I am experiencing the other. I'm experiencing something which is not me, and it giving me kilonemer an opportunity to escape being locked in this metzias of being me. I could have shaykhs to the truth. Nochmer, I could be interested in something which is not me. Not only could I comprehend, I could have technically connect to something, I'm curious. A human being is born with the need to know things which are useless information. Why is that? What's this for? Even pashas, people want to know news. They want to know what's going on in China. What you're planning on visiting? An animal doesn't understand such a in. Why should I want to know something which is not useful to me? A human being wants to know. He wants to know the truth. This tchune is be'etzem something which doesn't make sense, it's Ke'ilu Adavar Neisef on the person. It's like there's the person, and or the Metzias, which is the Nefesh, and implanted in it is this Keli to be not movable to myself. In Chassidus Sprach, it's Ke'ilu Neymar, a bittul was implanted in the Yesh. And that's why Mechin is bittul. Kol inyan ha-seichel, Chochma is ke'echma, bittul. Because in Yonei is to allow the person to escape this Hagbola and know the truth. Therefore, also in the experience of Seichel and Midas, they're different. In Seichel, was heist a bessere Seichel? That I am less focused on myself. I'm less to the point that I will leave any Hagbolas, any thought process, which is based on preconceived notions, based on my chinuch, based on society. I'm going to look for the real truth. I'm looking to be as objective as possible, meaning as least influenced by myself. And if I am, then it's not seichel. It's called sheichat. Masha'enke in the midas, if someone's going to look for an objective midah, it is nicht midah. A midah by definition is that I'm experiencing what I like. I'm experiencing myself. The fact that it's true or not is of no consequence. In Yoni is, where am I? I am now happy or not, in love or not. Therefore, Take, because the inyan ha-seichel and midas are different, and the way they work in the person are different, the results are different. In Mechin, after I learned something which I didn't know yesterday, I've grown because I have accepted something true which I didn't know, and that I have just now grown in Yediyas. It was because the svara is something which is outside of me be'etzem, and I have allowed it to come in. In Midas, you don't grow. A person who loved a whole day didn't become more. He's in himself, because the Chatchila was all by himself. Which is fine, that's what Midah is. Is bekitzer, Meichin in Yoni is bittel, and Midas in Yoni is yeshes. Therefore, let's come back to discussing the Nefesh Elikis. Where could the Nefesh Elikis rest? Where could it be shaded? Not in the Midas. Because the Midas are selfish. He's self-engrossed, and he won't allow for anything other than himself to be. The Meichin is Azasor Zach, which in Yoni is a keli for the truth. He's a keli for Seichel. Al derech zeh, we're saying in the Nefesh Bichlal. Why is the Nefesh called the Nefesh HaMaskeles? Because he allows for the Etzem HaNefesh to shine. In Midas, he won't allow for anything to rest in him. And therefore, also the Midas of the person, the fact that a person has more than one Midah, comes from the Meichin. But Pashtus, like we say, a Malach makes more sense. Or animal. You are who you are. Either you're a Ayev or you're a Yareh, but wherever you are, then you're consistent. What does it mean that your Metzias is based on the situation? Sometimes you're like this, sometimes you're like that. So L'chura, Adam is a chitzen. What's going on? So the answer is Anachanami. The Adam is not all by himself. The way the person is built, he's built up his seichel. A person who would be one-dimensional. So I would walk down the street and I would see something which is Ma'ir Rachmanis and I won't feel any pity. Because my inyan is Yireh, not that. A sichli what happens in my nefesh is based on what the Metzias want. What does the Metzias demand? What's the truth over here? The truth is that if I walk into a chasana, I should be in a simchadika mode. If I walk past a levaya, I should be pulled in that direction. If not, then I'm fatant. I'm not allowing for the truth to overtake me. So, what we're saying over here is a tifavart. Not just that seichel helps the midas develop. The very fact that a person has such tchunas in himself, the structure of the human being, that he has chesed and he has gvura. Why is that? It's a seicheldike structure. It's because he has meichin. And meichin form the person that he therefore has such a inyan, such a inyan. Because it's all based on the truth. So really there's one nekuda in the person. Back to our question. Is a person a few things? No. A person is one. Like every davar ruchni, there has to be one nekuda, who you are. What am I? I am the bittul to the truth. And everything in the person is based around that. That's why the person is a sichli. The Fizeh is verstandig also why in Midas there would be an Xchitzein and Beimechin not. In Midas, because it's Yeshesdik, so it could get out of control. Yeshes breeds Yeshes. And Yeshes would lead to more Xchitzein. So therefore, in other words, if the basis of the Midah is that I'm loving, and the basis is that it's about me, so if it's about me, then it could lead into other things which I care for, which is about the Nefesh Ba'amis. But if it's based on the truth, so there is Kilu Neimara, a Hagbole, your midas are coming mitzad HaMeichin. And Mamela, the Meichin, it is in control and only allowing whatever is now the truth for you. If it's mitzad HaMeichin, so it's only what the Meichin has produced, what now the truth demands and necessitates, that's what's going to be the mid. Lefi zeh, we could come back to dealing with the yeshes of the Nefesh Ba'amis. What's the solution for dealing with Yeshes Bichlal? If the Makim Nishrin of the Hamis is Bichlal and Bemidis. So what's the solution? The solution for Yeshes is Meichin. Because whenever a person thinks about the truth or looks for the truth, that will harness and control and put the Midas in its place. Now, this is all true Benegeya the Midas Reus Bichlal. Says this clippers of Saylam, and each one of them could be nisbarer through Meichin, because Meichin is bittul. Says, how do we control the Midas, produce Midas which are not gonna have Yeshes in them? We're gonna have Midas which don't go out of control, Midas which are going to be with the kavanah. Meichin, which is bittul, comes into the midas, and Mamela controls them. So that's the regular Seder Aveda of Chabad, and that's really what the Alter Rebbe is saying in Perek Tes, that Makim Mishkin Nefesh Lekis is b'meich shebarash. Because Nefesh Lekis b'meich shebarash, so from there, like he continues, it's yered to the Cholol HaSmali of the Lev. It controls the midas of the heart till afterwards it could overtake also the Cholol HaSmali. First in the Cholol HaYemani, which is the midas, which is the expression of Shlekis in the midas, and then it could reach into the midas of the Nefesh Ba'amis, control them. But over here we're dealing with a different issue. We're dealing with the etzem of Yeshes, with Klippus Midyan, which is this pure, raw yeshus which is irrational, which is so powerful because it's the etzem of the nefesh bamis. Coming with a rational argument, with a mechendik ammunition to deal with this issue is like bringing a sword to a gunfight where we don't stand a chance. And that's really the issue with this Mamer is dealing with, the issue of machlekes. Because machlekes, like we went through last time, really stems from a deeper place than a specific midrash. It's the etzem of midrash. It's not going to work. That's why the solution is not just seichel, but chacham. And this is how our Mamer begins now to explain the difference between chachma and bina. So let's see inside beginning of Sif Hey. ובזה יובן מה דקליפס מידיון הוא מנגד לצפירס החוכמה ואיס במאיר וזה לשני מידיון נקרא הקליפה לקובל אבא. It says in Kabbalah that Midian is the klipa which is neged Chochmah. It says Chochmah is Kedusha, and that's going to negate that's going to be the counterbalance for the issue of Midian. Okay, yadua the Chochmah b'chinas habitl. Zayin Chochmah ke'achma shu b'chinas habitl betachlis berin sof. V'achochmah peil habitl gam ba'amidis. Shezayin b'chinas shem ma de tikun bichlal. ולכן בחינת חוכמה בתכלס הסקלוס, and therefore in חוכמה it says, it continues, והיינו לפי שהחוכמה בחינת מה בתכלס הביטל, הרי בחינת תכלס האחדוס והסקלוס. Why is חוכמה more bitter than bin? It says, לאחר we just established, לאחר that we've just been through, that Chochmah, that Mechin Bichlal, is inyan a bittul. What could be more bittul than Mechin? So let's approach this with one word. Behektim. Yodua the Chochmah is Hamtzor. The question is, what's a shaykhis of hamtzoeh, creativity, to bittul? Also, it says the chochmah is the klif misris nefesh. It says in Perek Yud Ches that where is the yichid sheire v'ani barv le'edo b'emes isi imach v'ani tamed imach. That dafke where there's chochmah sheben nefesh, that's where the nefesh lekis, the etzem of the nefesh lekis, could express itself in Eifel Mesiris Nefesh. What's the word? Seichel is taka bittul. But the whole bittul of Seichel is that I am becoming bottle. My inyan is to become. In very simple language, what's Seichel doing? Seichel is grasping. It's looking for the truth to attain the truth, to have a shaykhs to the truth. The lashon in Chassidus for bina is always hasaga. Hasaga means in English to reach, to get. Like we say in Seichel Bichlal, I get it. I got a dvar Seichel. Chochmah is not hasaga nor haskol. What's it touch haskol? That we're not talking about the gavre, we're talking about the hefte. We're talking about the muskel. The svara itself is meir. In simple words, the process of bina is, I'm looking to make it make sense to me. How do I make it make sense? I look at the way I think, and I try to find tukmois, I try to put it into my language. I'm bringing the seichel into my world. So take it's bittul, and we're accessing something which is outside of me. But how do I do that? I do that within the parameters of my metzias. I can't go higher than that. And that's the pella of Chochmah. The Chochmah is not I am processing, taking something lefi erech mi. Chachma is, it's the truth kameshehi. It's the way it has revealed itself to me without the being mugbal to my own kelim. It's the haskala of the im. It's the way the eira seichel is meir in me. Which is really why in Chachma is Hamtzoi. What's the type of Hamtzoi? Why could a person not think of a new idea? Because he is limited to the way he thinks. His svara today is going to be behemshech and lefiyerech what he thought yesterday. So it's always going to be within the confines, the limitations of his metzias, the way his head works. What we would call someone who's closed-minded. He's stuck in this thought process. Chachma is, I have a new idea, a fresh thought. How does a fresh thought come into my head? For that I have to be legamre bottle. That it's not I am looking to take, but I am allowing for the emes to be made. Even simply, how would a person who wants to look for a new idea, he's stuck. He's stuck in a shvere sugya, or he's stuck in an issue in life. He's looking for a way out. To think and to try to come up with something, it will always be based on my own experience. There is, Vidaloshin is, a new idea fell into my head. It's to be a keli, to be bottle, to create a vacuum, to make empty space in my head. Fakert. Not to be mizbeinen and to look. To allow for, to make space in my nefesh. The moshel for this in Ein Beis is that you have a Talmud. Talmud HaYeshul Lifnei Rabbi. So the Seder is that Talmud has to sit in front of his Rebbe, has to sit for Sefer Nitzvah Meir, and has to sit with a full bittel, in order to be able to be Makam. Not only does he have to be quiet, literally, even in his own mind he has to be quiet, to not think of any other ideas in order to give space for the Divrei Rav to take him over. So steht that even his rotzen to understand has to somehow be silenced, because now his only focus is that he is a kli lekabbalah, he's misavik b'afar hagleim to be mekabel from the Rav. After the Shiur, he goes and he does Chazar. He's sitting now and doing Chazara. The Seder is that while he's sitting to do Chazara, as often happens, the idea eludes him. He's looking to understand it, and that is Pshas, when he was by the Rav, he was taken and it all made sense, and it's geleuchten. And now he's trying to rub two words together to make it fit, and that is nicht. What's that? So it's the touch that Bishas, when he was sitting in front of the Rav, he was imagining, he was lying to himself, he thought he understood, he didn't really understand. Obviously not. Because this is Ma'asim B'chol Yom. This is the Seder when you sit by a Rav, and then afterwards you have the difficulty, Bishas Chazara, to try to put yourself back in that mitzvah. And now you're going to have to find your own words and work it through. The emes is Nachmeh. Even after you worked it through and you processed this word, it's still not going to be like it was b'shas you were by the Rav. When you were by the Rav, it was true. There was no other way to look at it. Now, good, it's a word, it's a mahalach, I understand it. And it doesn't have the air the way it was b'shas the Shiur. So what's pshat? Is a teretz pashut. When I understood it then in the Shiur, it wasn't I was understanding. It was that the Rav was understanding. And I was ke'ilu hitched a ride with the Rav. The Rav took me. He elevated me to his world, and with the koyach of this communication in the Shiur, I somehow or another picked myself up to that air. Now that the Rav is not here, the Shiur is over, so I'm back to where I am naturally. Now, using the Eitzis Harav, I have to process it and make it make sense to me. Al derech, the way it is in the Rav and Talmud, al derech zeh is in Nefesh Adam. The Rav in this Nimshal is the Etzem HaNefesh, or we call the Keach HaMaskil. It's a Pshitas HaNefesh, the truth lies there. Then are the Keiches HaNefesh, the Seichel. So the Midas are obviously not keli for the Etzem HaNefesh. The Meichin, which is, the Lashon is La'atzmei, the Meichin is Davuk in the Nefesh, so the Meichin could be a Kli L'Kabal. But Bezeh Gufa, there's two Eifam. There is the way the Seichel is a Kli L'Kabbalah, that he is processing what the Rav has to say, meaning the Keach HaMaskil has to share. But it's always going to be an even of Asaga, of Hagbolah. Then there is the beginning, Reishis HaShtalshalos, the highest point in Keich HaNefesh, where the Chochmah Shebenefesh is a Keli, that he is, Kol Inyoni is to be Mekabel from the Rav. Kol Inyoni is to be Mekabel from the Etzem HaNefesh. And over there, the full truth could lie. And that's why Taka, the Mesiras Nefesh, is Sheireh Chochmah Shebenefesh. And that's the Keach Amtzoeh, which Chochmah has. It's the Keach to allow for the Nefesh to shikarain, to send in a new idea. That's also why the Rechagav, it says that the Meich HaZikaron is in Chochmah. Because memory is when I'm misatzer with something. So da Lashon and Tirasholim. As my meant, all those which mistake that Chochmah is Seichel. Narvos, the only way to get to Seichel is through Bittul. So says the Rebbe Nishma said, no, the truth is just the opposite. Chochmah is Bittul. The expression of Bittul is the fact that it comes out in a Seichel. But the Bittul of Chochmah is not a Tnai which Chochmah has, it's what Chochmah is. Chochmah is Musing in a Bittul. Now, because Chochmah has this Bittul, it's not a Bittul, which is a processed Bittul, like Seichel, where Seichel is, I want to get. The way I get is through being Bittul. Was Chochmah, I am Bittul. It's, in other words, sometimes in Chassidus it says it's a Keli Fahecher from Seichel. This Chochmah, the way is a Keli Fahecher from Seichel, that's the solution for Midyan, which is the irrational Yesh. How do I deal with the Etzem of Yesh? Nem the Etzem from the Nefesh, the way it is in Chochmah, it's a light in Chochmah, and that's going to deal with it. La'achar kol zeh, we still need to discuss how does this play out. Where are we going to see L'Pay, when we have Machlekes? Where's, practically speaking, where are we going to see that Chochmah could be mashpia in this Inyan of Machlekes? Another issue, which is a more basic issue, is this whole word of Seichel, and Chochmah in particular. That we're saying that's the Inyan of Bittul, L'chure, put verkehrt. The whole Inyan of Seichel is to be magdir, to classify, to dissect, to make divisions. Seichel is going to bring Achdus. Seichel is going to bring Bittul. L'churet Seichel, it just does just the opposite of Midas. Midas could bring people together. Seichel, it takes two things which look similar and says that they're not. Seichel's coming to differentiate. So, Mitzvah next time we're going to have to discuss why Seichel, the Heicholtzu of Seichel, is not a stira to the Achdus of Seichel. Bepratius, what is it about Chochmah and how does it play out in dealing with the Klippus Midyan and can make Achdus?